So we want to gauge public opinion on something. We want you to decide in the comments. Is Utah's PIP law a good thing or a bad thing? So to give you some context on that, in Utah, when you get injured in a car accident, our own auto insurance covers the first $3,000 of medical bills, regardless of who's at fault. So even if I'm at fault for the crash, I can use my own PIP insurance to cover up to $3,000 in medical expenses. That's the minimum required. Some people raise it. But there's a bad side of that law. That part is nice because it helps us as Utahns. We can get some basic medical attention, whether we're at fault or not. We don't have to be questioning, can I pay for an ambulance ride? Can I afford it? Leave me here when I'm bleeding at the scene of the accident. The law does some good things there for sure. There's some downside to it. In many states, they don't have this. And in our state, that same $3,000 serves as a threshold to where you're not owed any pain and suffering at all for what happened to you in a crash, unless your medical bills hit that magic number of $3,000. There's a pro and a con. If you get hit in a crash in Utah and you're hurt, but you don't have medical bills in other states, say Nevada, you would be owed compensation for what happened to you and how the crash affected you, whether you needed $3,000 worth of medical care or not. So for example, let's say in Utah, you get hit hard, somebody runs a red light, T-bones right into you, and it hurts you and knocks your head and gives you a bad concussion. And you've got concussive symptoms maybe for months from this, but you don't take the ambulance ride to the ER. In fact, you don't get much medical attention. Maybe you see your primary care and he just says, give it rest and time, and you don't go get post-concussive therapy. And just over time, it does eventually heal. But that impacted you, that crash, in so many ways. The stress, the inconvenience, and the toll of the concussive symptoms on your life could affect you at school or work or whatever. And yet in Utah, the at-fault insurance, even though they're supposed to, in theory, they should be having to compensate you for how the crash affected you if that other driver's at fault. In Utah, the at-fault insurance doesn't owe you anything whatsoever for the human experience that you went through. No pain and suffering at all, just because you didn't have medical bills that hit a magic number. So there's good and bad there, and I would like to hear from the St. George community. Do we think that this PIP law is a good thing for Utahns or a bad thing? Should it be changed? You decide in the comments. The most interesting or persuasive comment, we're actually going to reward with tickets to Thriller that's upcoming in October. We've got 2 tickets. They're great seats, row 2, to go see Thriller at Tuacahn. So weigh in the comments and let us know what you think. Thanks.